how do you guys feel at the table? Has everyone at the table ever had that space outside of Doc and Ellie? Have you ever been to that space where you ever thought about suicide as black men?
I mean, I mean, yeah, absolutely. I was on suicide watch. I, yeah, there were times when I'm recently married, but there were times when me and my girlfriend, me and my fiance, and now me and my wife, there were times when we never spoke about it, but she never left me alone, and I never let myself be alone, because we had spoken about that, and I put it to her very straight. I don't know. I just don't want it. You talk about life. I just don't want it. I just don't want
What brought you to that place?
um, isolation, right? Ostracism, uh, humiliation, abandonment. And the funny thing about that is that, I mean, we got a doc here, so uh, I've learned that those things, and having an event happen to you, and getting arrested, or losing a job, or you know having to rejigger
Yeah.
you think that's the thing that gets you, you know but it's usually, I found for myself, it was something way, 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 way back, um, that kind of had my mind in a certain space. You know what I mean? And yeah, I mean, drug overdose. Yep. Check.
Wow.
Um, damn near lived on a roof. Just plenty of. I don't even smoke cigarettes. Yeah, I mean,
A lot of men, what women don't understand is that a lot of our identity, a lot of our self worth is tied in our ability to be productive and to be worshiped and praised, or the thing that you've worked for your entire life. A lot of times, when that's taken away from you and you got to go back to square one and you feel abandoned by everybody, it could give you a space where you start to experience maybe even suicidal thoughts. And I think that Jonathan Majors seen everybody turn against him, and that's the culture that we live in. And more than ever, people are willing to express their thoughts online to convict you in a court of public opinion. Even with the footage that had came out, people were still trying to throw him under the bus and stuff like that. And so I actually salute this girl for holding him down at the time when everybody was trying to throw him under the bus. And even in that situation, they tried to make it seem like, oh, he turned into black women now. It became a black women versus white women thing, instead of just holding him down and wait until the evidence presented itself that actually showcased that he was innocent. And they started to make it all of that or whatever. And again, I think that it's dope that he actually had somebody that was holding him down, that was in his corner, because who's to say that he was able to grab himself out of that situation? I mean, ultimately, it's still up to you to step outside of that. But Jonathan Majors, and a lot of people forget this, he was riding high. He was the hottest person in Hollywood as far as black actors or good actors or people that was taking over. He had just came off of a series. He had just came off of Creed, which I thought he did an incredible job portraying the new character that was in Creed. He had just got into Ant-Man, and he was coming into his own in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, in which they should have kept Kang. And all it took was one accusation from one woman to throw him into this dark spiral. And, we all know that Jonathan Majors, well, maybe you don't know, but I know because I did a little bit of research on him. He come from acting school. This is the thing that he trained his whole life for. And to see it all taken away from him just based off of an accusation, and then for people to turn against him based off of the fact that he was being accused by a white woman, was very tragic. It was tragic. It was unfortunate. It shouldn't have happened, in my opinion. And I think that for a lot of guys, women steal that from them. They steal their joy. They steal their essence. They steal the thing that makes them awesome. They steal their self-worth and their identity. And they can take everything from you in just a blink of a hat, the snap of a wrist. And I don't think that he's even fully gotten back to where he was, because again, he was the hottest thing in Hollywood at that particular time. And he was box office. He was box office. I seen he had did the Wrestler movie and all of that stuff. And they had been shelving different movies and everything like that. He was being followed around by the paparazzi. And so I think that he and his thoughts right here is reflective of a lot of what men go through on a regular basis that is not talked about. And it's a lot of guys that at some point in their life felt like they didn't want it anymore. Even if they knew that they weren't going to do it, they felt like they didn't want it anymore. And it wasn't that they were suffering from the same perspective or the same lens of what it takes to be homeless or any of that type of stuff. It was that their identity is stripped from them, all based off of one little situation or a group of events that wind up transpiring, and it tests you. It definitely tests you. But I'm glad that he found himself.
Playing cigarettes and whiskey. I actually wrote a letter. Yeah, I've done the whole thing and been there.
Just the courage you have at this table, though, man. Just the courage.
It's not. It's precious, right? Like, life is precious, and it's deep, but there is a level of, like, I don't really care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I've reached a point now where it's like, I really want to care. You know what I mean? Like, but I don't care.
But the darkness we have to go through as a black man sometimes to get to that light.
But see, that's the thing you said.
That's what pisses me off.
You said this at the top. We as black men have to talk about mental health, right? Like, I agree. But we are all born into a society in which our narrative, right? Our narrative as black men, we're born into a narrative that puts us downhill.
Yeah.
And then you end up having to pretend that you're somebody that you're not to get through certain doors that I got through, right? You don't get through an Ivy League door, behaving a certain way, thinking a certain way, or letting people know you think a certain way. That didn't happen.
I think as a black man, we have to know we are at war. Every day we wake up.
Do you two, as young men, do you feel the pressure as men, or do you feel the pressure as young? Like, is the pressure that you feel being connected as being a black man, or you just feel it in general?
I don't feel pressure. I feel honored. You know what I'm saying? I feel honored. Because I'm a firm believer when that pressure is being formed, that's what creates the diamonds. You know what I'm saying?
Have you always been there?
I have not always been there, but I just recently came to that space, and now I understand why I had to go through it.
Let me ask you this, NLE. What led you to discovering that it was an honor to feel the pressure?
And I also want to hear from Ray J too, as a young gun too.
Yeah.
What led me to discovering what made me feel it was an honor is because our job as a black man is to go through the obstacles, to be able to uplift the other people that have not overcame the obstacles. And it's still a, it's a war. We win one battle and then we move on to the next. We climb one mountain and then we gotta go to the next.
Yeah.
But service to others is one of the most important things, and even a wise man once said, to piggyback off Jonathan, service to others is what pays our rent in heaven.
Let me know what y'all think inside of the comments. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Teach Henley, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. I want to know what y'all think about this whole situation and what's being communicated. I will say that I think that Kirk Franklin has probably put together a really good thing here. I know a lot of people may not necessarily care for Kirk Franklin, but I think he's put together a really good thing here from an entertainment perspective, and it's something that I catch whenever he puts it out. It's something that I catch on a regular basis. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. I'm going to holler at y'all later. Peace.